up indeed.
All right. And we are here. Daiejo Swimmer, the swimmer, will be observing for us. And in the bottom left-hand side, it is for Dragon Phoenix Gaming, herO, the smiling assassin.
And on the top right corner of the map, it is playing for Team NV, Don Grey Goo, aka DRG.
My mentor, my Sabu.
Abu.
Still around. What a beast. I mean, he has to be the longest standing pro gamer at this point for StarCraft 2, right? Especially playing at this level.
True. I think he's definitely right up there together with players like Mana, for example, that really were just beasts and Wings of Liberty, but still stuck around until Legacy of the Void, making their mark in the competitive scene.
Yeah,
that's something that's really cool to see.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, obviously Mana a fantastic player, but he's not here, right? Like DRG has maintained a form to where he is expected to be at all the bigger tournaments that happen, including the World Championships today. I don't know that there's maybe Ryang could be made, or Ryang wasn't even that strong in Wings, I feel like, not nearly as DRG, but I think he was around.
He was definitely around. He was even in Slayers for a while.
That's
I remember
true.
that.
That's true. Yeah.
But DRG definitely won a few tournaments back in the day, and I think he took a hiatus for a little bit, right? He went to the army.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, and once he came back, he didn't really grab that that title that he was hoping for, but he was always one of the contenders, you know, like you would expect him to win the tournament, but this is the kind of guy you would expect to get at least top 8 or something. Just back on top of like his really sharp mechanics and, like you said, really great trickery, mind games.
Yeah,
kind
he's
of play.
Excellent at that. So we'll see if he can capitalize here. He is the type of player that can take a game from anyone, and he's going to need that to play that particular card, right? Like we have certain players that are so very safe and so kind of stern and strong in their approach that they don't lose. They don't trade down as far as players, but they also don't trade up, right? Like someone like Showtime is very difficult to imagine winning like a big series against herO, for example, where both players are just playing like their best game. Whereas Showtime is much less likely, I think, than someone like Astraea to drop a map to a lesser player because his play is just so very solid. And DRG is kind of, for me, in that kind of middle ground where he has good, solid play, but he relies a lot on trickery as well. And that makes it so that he can drop series more easily, trade down a little bit, but he can also win against the very best. And sometimes trickery is best against the smartest players, right? Because you can kind of expect them to do the right thing and then play for that.
Right, exactly. There's no point in for example, when I was in the lower leagues, I thought I was always being so smart, you know, canceling my cloak and getting different units based on the add-ons that I had, but most of the times they weren't even reacting to what they saw. So
it's so frustrating.
Yeah, and that happens even in competitive play. Like nowadays, you have players that will just do what they want to do and not react. One player that comes to mind was True. True did not care what you did. He would do his thing because he liked it, and that's just what he was used to. So
and I mean, players like True, at least they set the pace, right? Like so that they don't have to react as much if they are actively like the aggressor. Like True liked to make like tons of links, and he truly didn't care. I mean, True could see banelings being morphed, not know when the banelings started being morphed, and still he will surround them and attack them, and if they explode, they explode. You know what I'm saying? Like that was True in a nutshell. But his strategy and the pace he said was pretty cool. Whereas, I think we're going to get a little bit more measured approaches here from both DRG and herO. Is that gas now properly set? There was a little bit of pathing issue for the probes on the gas of herO, but I think it's fixed now. A queen will go down. No transfuse available from her sisters. No saturation yet on the natural of herO. The main is fixed. But he will want to be utilizing those gases pretty soon here, as he's dropping a Forge as well as a Robo plus 1 milli on the side of DRG. So anticipating exactly what's coming here, which is very likely to be that blink and +1 plus actually 2/2 follow-up from herO, which is something that he has done more than any other Protoss, is the double Forge approach.
Yeah, and it's really not a bad idea. I mean, with Zergs getting +1 milli attacks so fast, you kind of miss the armor upgrades a little bit. on your units. So definitely gonna help out with that.
Yeah.
I don't think that changes the interaction with Banelings though, right? Banelings should still one-shot probes with +2 attack.
Oh yeah, for sure. So here come the Adepts. They're gonna kill actually 4 workers. That's an awful lot of workers, especially with the evacuation being taken into account. And now the Oracle's
This stage of the game, that's very surprising. Oh, no Spore in the main.
That is rough. I mean, the workers do evacuate towards the Queens fast enough that only 3 more end up going down, but another mineral line evacuated. DRG will confirm the double upgrades. And yeah, to that point, I really love that herO is staying on top of the meta that he created, right? Because he came up with this style after coming back from the military. He revolutionized PvC by saying, you know what, let's do low gas counts. Like, let's not take the 4th or the 5th and 6th gas, sometimes not even the 4th. And let's go heavy into gateway production and see what happens with this +1 attack. And he started doing these blink attacks that keep a little bit more map control, taking advantage of the fact that Protoss can expand to that 3rd much faster in Legacy of the Void and you know, after the battery buffs and whatnot, before this last nerf, of course. So I think that he identified an opening that wasn't being paid attention to, and he made a really cool meta out of it. And now that Zergs are adapting, like you were saying, with their own upgrades on the Zerglings, he is the one also one step ahead, trying to get the Carapace to kind of equalize. So pretty cool, or the armor rather.
Yeah, extremely cool, to be honest. I mean, it took up until herO came back from the military and started revolutionizing the meta, like you said. Like, felt like Protoss was really getting oppressed by Zerg. Still kind of stuck on, you know, trying to play off Storm and just kind of huddling up on 3 bases, really afraid to push out on the map. And herO just came back and he was like, nah, I'm gonna play the way I like to play, which is to be the oppressor. And really cool how it shaped up the matchup after that. Everyone just decided to copy him because it really is the best play to play PvZ.
Yeah, it gives you some control, some agency here that was lacking. Spires at the wall.
Double Colossus, that's more of a wow to me.
Oh, okay. Well, triple wow then with the Spire on top of that. I mean, there is Hydras on the way as well for DRG. So I can see the idea behind herO's Colossus here, right? Like DRG is relying heavily on the links with +1, +2 milli soon to be. And Hydras, as far as the ground is concerned, you warp on a couple of sentries and you're kind of golden with those Colossus. So, I mean, DRG is really going to need the help of some Corruptors here. He's very likely to make Muta if he doesn't know about the Colossus. But then I fear he might just die to the ground push.
It's possible. I mean, herO has no idea about the Mutas, but he is definitely going to push with 4 Colossus. That is his timing to hit against Hydra Bane. I don't think Bane's speed will even be done by the time he starts pushing. So this is definitely a very scary attack herO might be offering DRG in a second.
Yeah, but DRG seems well aware, Diedro, because, or if not aware, at least accounting for it partially. Already 5 Corruptors on the way, 3 a little bit further along than the remaining 2, but that's gonna help an awful lot against the Colossus, right? Like, DRG is gonna be looking for more extended fights, already breaking the rocks, which I absolutely love, making the space a little bit more open, but he's not gonna have enough time here. It looks like a couple of spines being produced. Like you said, Baneling speed not nearly done. +2 attack just now started for DRG, and now in the open ground. I mean, this is the best place for him to hold. Do not push further, he will not. And yeah, I mean, I think we have an interesting game here. It's a very wide open area for herO to try and push.
Indeed it is. He is still gonna go for it. Honestly, if DRG decides to overextend into the choke, it could end up very dicey for him. Those Colossus have crazy amount of splash damage, and they do extra damage against light. And
oh man,
he's just gonna blink forward.
Yeah, I mean, that is definitely a lot. It makes sense when the Colossus are there. The Stalkers just want to go to the front to try to protect them, and the Corruptors not able to shoot from the beginning of this fight, get involved a little bit too late. And herO is going to make the fight short and sweet. DRG would have benefited from those extended fights so that the Colossus are taken out in time from the Corruptors. That's what you want. But yeah, his army on the ground a little bit too glass cannon-y, and herO identifying that beautiful move, really, that blink forward.
Yeah, that was very decisive. It felt almost too easy for him. And I was kind of surprised that DRG knew what was coming. I mean, he never scouted the robos. but he still decided to make corruptors anyways. And yet, it didn't even matter in the end. He still just got completely rolled. I kind of feel bad for him. I'm not sure what went wrong.
Yeah, I mean, we could look at that engagement again. Like, for me, I think that he had a difficult position to hold in the sense that when he was holding too far forward, he was getting baited onto the choke where he doesn't have creep, right? So then herO would just blink back, and then the Colossus stacks whatever units overextended. So then he decides, okay, I can't hold here. I'm just going to use the creep launchpad. But then he was so far behind that his hatchery was kind of an impediment for him to really fan out. And then he didn't really have enough of a link buffer or link reinforcements to where I think the blink was just super effective, because in my mind, the way that DRG wins that engagement is kind of by engaging and disengaging, and the Corruptors killing the Colossus over time, right? If the Corruptors soak some shots from the Stalkers and the Colossus are going down with the Corruptors, kind of, then DRG can win. But because herO blinks forward and just attacks the whole of the army of DRG, he makes the engagement so short that the Corruptors never find their value. So the engagement ends, you still have 6 Corruptors attacking 2 Colossus, and you kill 2, but that's just not enough, right? They already output the damage that they needed to output so fast. So needed a way to prolong that engagement. Roaches would have been an option. Link reinforcements, I think, to buffer might have been an option. Maybe those spines that were in the back, if they had been here at the front, or if he had just a little bit better creep spread to where he didn't have to be in that uncomfortable position between the hatch and the choke.
Yeah, well, we are loaded up into game number 2 here on Dragon Scales. I hope that DRG will be able to turn things around. Maybe he'll try a different style. Hydras, maybe not gonna work on this map. Maybe he'll try something different. Let's find out.
Let's find out. Top left-hand side for Team NV, DRG. Already getting his hatchery blocked at the expansion.
Oh, I think he tried to come back with the drone.
Yeah.
But not gonna... herO not gonna fall for that trick like he did. And on the bottom right-hand side, it is Junho Kim. It is herO.
Very powerful.
Very powerful indeed.
Right, DRG will get his pool down now. And 17 or 18 supply after the gas. So everything's pretty normal here for DRG. Will likely look to... I thought he would saturate that gas slowly, actually, but he prioritizes it right away.
Yeah, I guess he really wants that link speed. I mean, like,
so.
In the last game, he almost caught the 2 adepts with links, right? He didn't kill them, but he tried to catch them. So maybe something similar, but with more links this time.
Yeah, but it's in the face of herO as well. So herO should be well aware of the timing, right? From when you start mining that link speed, and look to not overextend. So, yeah. Almost like if your opponent is in your face and they're like already taking accounting of your gas, I feel like maybe you just don't rush it, because the only case use there is going to be to chase the adepts back or to try to cancel like a third after you deal with the adepts on your side of the map. And if your opponent's accounting for that, I don't see it happening. So maybe just better to favor the economy, but very small detail.
I guess we'll see as herO once again decides to go for the Stargate tech path, the most common one in ZVP. Not gonna see any glaive adepts or anything of the kind just yet. But yeah, just keeping tabs on the link counts. I think he saw one drone going back into the natural, which he can probably infer that there will be another base. Adept will nonetheless check anyways, just to make sure. And there's the info that he needs to make sure he's not getting link flooded or anything silly like that might cost him a game in this group stage.
Yeah, DRG splitting his links 3 and 3. 3 in the main, 3 at the natural base, and he can't believe his eyes when the Adept actually shades in. But yeah, I mean, the Adept wasn't tagged with the links. DRG will be much more diligent now, clicking on the shade and respecting the shade enough to move the Queen alongside it. So the first time around, DRG just didn't buy it, and herO was like trying to capitalize on it. Didn't find much, but also didn't take any whole damage on his Adept. So good moves here from the Korean Protoss, just trying to carve any advantage that he can find. And now 2 Adepts. These things are in a little bit of trouble.
Oh, wow. And he decides to shade forward even. That's bold. And he's actually close. He's like he's not buying this bluff. It feels like DRG was kind of showing the Lings and like, hey, I have speed. Maybe you should go home, you know, be afraid of me. That doesn't work out at all.
Man, again into the main. This is brutal. I mean, the Oracle is there too. The Queens have to shift their attention to the Oracle, which means these Adepts are kind of like reigning free here. DRG had to make an additional 6 links and will eventually deal with this, luckily for him. Maybe the Oracle could have found a little bit more damage. Three drones go down at the end of the day, so not the worst case scenario for DRG. That could have been pretty dangerous.
He also did not activate the Oracle, so it's going to have a lot of energy here to maybe even kill the Spore Crawler if he wants.
Yeah. Definitely can go after that Spore. And that Spore is not just the Spore, it's the drone under it, right? So you basically force a cancel, a little bit of resources lost there, and then the drone after the fact is a freebie as it cannot escape. It could make another Spore, but it's just losing more money. Could make an Evo chamber, I guess.
He's preparing another Adept run by. I mean, this guy just doesn't care. He does have an Oracle to protect the third in case of a Link Flood or something, but yeah, he's so aggressive. How annoying must it be to play against a guy like this? That just doesn't let you breathe, doesn't let you drone up, forcing you to pull workers all the time. This must be so frustrating for DRG right now, as he can't seem to get the early game that he wants.
Man. No, this is brutal. Already 6 more workers have gone down. The Oracles are still alive. DRG was saying today is going to be a rough day of matches. Has herO into herO. 2 more drones having to be morphed, make it 3. The Lynx are finally going to encroach onto the one single Adept that was causing so much mayhem. And this is, I mean, DRG is an extremely fast player, right? It's the fact that, like you're saying, herO is keeping on the aggressor, like the aggression. If it's any of these attacks in isolation, without the tempo that has been set from herO, it's no problem for DRG. The problem is he's actively trading units, killing some links here and there, making him take care of his main, evacuate drones. And so DRG, like you said, never gets to catch a breath, right? Like he's trying to recompose and 2 more Adepts show up. It is just so annoying. And at that point, you feel like you're taking damage, so you feel like you're behind. And I mean, the most natural thing to do is I gotta remake some drones, take some risks that I'm not gonna be attacked again in the next minute, right? And that's exactly what herO does.
Yeah. And this actually ends up being extremely frustrating for DRG, especially because, well, to put it into a bit of perspective, Zerg is supposed to surpass the Protoss in worker count at around like 48. It took him until he was at 57 drones to pass herO's 55 probe count, so definitely extremely frustrating, and it's going to make it extremely hard for him to defend his non-existent 4th base against these Blink Stalkers.
Yeah, more links falling. I mean, it's 600 resources. The differences in units lost tab at a game where not much has happened, right? It's all been tiny skirmishes, all herO on top of. Good job from DRG. They're only getting one of his links trapped, and now the links trying to encase the stalkers, but not even gonna kill a single one before additional links will go down on the side of DRG. So herO finding more cost-effective engagements, threatening more. He has found the area where he can sit and not be threatened by creep, but it's actually choosing to evacuate through the longest creep path. However, with the Oracle Revelation and the units of DRG not in position or in great enough numbers to respond, that's just gonna mean herO gets to clear that creep and proceed onto the side of the map here, onto the right-hand side. Yeah,
this is so brutal. I mean, how often do you see a Protoss player taking their 4th base before the Zerg? His Nexus is going to finish before this 4th hatchery, and the creep isn't even able to connect there just yet. And he's just kind of dictating the pace of the game so far. Really being abusive. Honestly, I didn't think how killing all this creep on this side will make it so oppressive for the Zerg to defend his main. But so here we are.
Yeah, and herO, I mean, masterful positioning as well, always playing around the chokes, around the ramps. Not extending far on creep unless he's there to clear it, right? So just doing a fantastic job. And you can see DRG scrambling there to keep his creep connecting, to keep his units in position, having to worry as well about the potential for the Oracles to provide vision onto the high ground. Means that a lot of his units have to stay in neutral positions, finally finding some decent trades, but as the Oracles turn their attention around, DRG knows that it's time to back away. His Queens are not and cannot get in position to fight these Oracles with a lack of creep.
Yeah, and he'll have an even harder time as soon as that +2 finishes. So I'm really not sure what you do here from DRG's position.
It's so difficult. Not enough links to go up the ramp here. Oh, Stasis. Gonna be 3 or 4 extra units that will end up falling. And herO actually thinks that he can get more right now. 4 units being taken completely out of this engagement in a position where herO seems to have already too much. And don't forget, he also basically has the economic lead. Not in terms of workers, but in terms of real estate. He has the extra base kicking in a little bit faster. He has Chrono Boost if he wants to go there, but it's not going to be necessary. This is a swift, quick, and strong 2-0 from herO, who makes a statement that he is the